Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Live Coding Second Breakfast. I'm your host, Kristy, and I think I'm going to start calling this Live Coding Second Coffee because by 11 o'clock on Mondays, that's about as far as I've made it. But if this is your first time joining, welcome again to the stream. If this is not your first time and you've been here to Live Coding Second Breakfast, the last two episodes, or the first two episodes, we've actually worked on our C3 mobile app with David Murch. Today, I'm going a bit of a different direction. I'm by myself today, but I thought we would work on our MakeFarm demo. If you have been to a knowledge event or a CreatorCon event, you've likely seen the MakeFarm where we engrave things like our Legos. You guys can see that okay? Yep, we engrave our Legos. There's the ServiceNow side of the Lego. So there's some cool things that we can do with the MakeFarm, but basically it's all driven through ServiceNow for you to create custom swag. It could be a Lego, it could be a laser engraved keychain, or whatever the case might be. So that's what we're going to work on today. So let me pull up my backlog. Here we are. So a little background too of the MakeFarm, and I'll show you guys kind of a quick demo so you have some context of what we're actually working on today. Hi, Earl. Hi, Travis. Thank you. I love my camera. This is my Sony ZV-E10. I'm not sponsored by Sony, but highly recommend the camera. It's a great camera. But to give you a little context of the MakeFarm, we ran this MakeFarm at CreatorCon India, and we got some really great feedback from the folks in India for some things that they thought would be helpful to change up in the MakeFarm. So that's kind of what we're going to work on today. I've got them all kind of here at the top of my to-do list in my VTB. We've actually recently moved this to Agile, so hopefully the next time that we do this, you'll see a nice Agile board and a sprint backlog here for things that we're working on. But there's some quick things that we're going to do. We're going to add a new button to our service portal and our operator dashboard. I'll show you in just a second. We're going to add some instructions on our service catalog because we have people that try to squeeze 50 characters onto a tiny little 1x8 Lego brick. Doesn't work so well, as you can imagine. So we're going to add some instructions on that. We'll add some attributes for supporting multi-line because we do have different things that you can engrave in the hack zone that are multi-line. So we want to be able to make that a bit more dynamic because right now it's a little manual to add the multi-line variable set. So we're going to try to make that a bit more dynamic. We have a cleanup script. That's pretty much done, but that's still on my to-do list just to make sure it's finished. Character limits, again, squeezing 50 characters in. We'll try to do that. Did I? No. And then a creation workflow if we get to it. I don't think we'll get that far, but we'll try. So those are some things that we're going to work on. So to show you a little bit about the MakeFarm and how it works. So this is just a UI builder page that we've embedded on the homepage of I think it's UI builder. No, it's a service portal page. It's a service portal page that we've built here so that you can choose events. So we do run concurrent events sometimes. So you can choose the event and then go directly to the different experiences that support the event. So we have our operator dashboard. This is where whoever is working the MakeFarm is going to control what jobs are going to what machines at the MakeFarm. So they'll see the status of the mids here, and they'll see all of the different machines, whether they're operational, if they're pingable. And we'll come back to this in a minute too. You can also get to the portal, so don't judge me on my lack of design skills. This is our UIB portal where you can actually come and order the thing that you want. So this is actually what's happening today if you're in Australia, or tomorrow if you're not in Australia or you're in the US. There's a federal forum in Canberra that's running. So this is the item that they're going to be engraving there. So they needed multi-line support. We have more than 2 devs. We have quite a few devs that work on this, actually. So yes, we're going to use Agile because we have a lot of different projects underway in the Dev Advocate program where we'll have multiple different things going on. So we need a better way to keep track of what we're doing. There's 2 devs here in our backlog because that's Jason McKee. He's the hardware guy, he likes to say, and I'm the software side of the MakeFarm. So we kind of split this into 2, but we'll have a lot more people working on it by the time we move to Agile. Let's see. So we went there, and then we have our swag production queue. So it's always a question like, where's my stuff? When's it going to be done? So we created this dashboard for our swag farm or make farm so people could keep an eye on where their stuff is and when it's coming up. So what's up next, what's now processing, so on and so forth. And an interesting thing I want to point out for all of these different portals is I did not become a service portal developer. I had very limited experience in building service portals because honestly, building widgets confused me. But thank you, Earl, for that lovely video you put together to show how the different things connect to each other. But I use ChatGPT for creating a vast majority of this. So this portal that you see, this operational dashboard, this production queue, this was all basically created using generative AI. So that was pretty fun. And we might use some of that today too when we start building this out. So at the core of our make farm, we have an event table, and our event table is what holds all of the different information about the event. So if we look at the Canberra Forum, we have the start and the end date. We have what state it's in. Associated stock actually drives what is on our portal itself. So we can do some controls. So if we're running out of an item, we can take them off of the portal automatically, so we don't have to go monitor the stock and make sure it's all done. There's our swag machines that you saw reflected on the operational dashboard. There's our mid server that's running it. Any users that might be doing this, we actually just cloned from prod to dev, so some of our references are out of whack, so we got to fix some of that. Not a big deal. And then we'll see all the different requests that have come through for this particular event. So with that, hey Mahathi, how are you? With that, let's go ahead and get started on our backlog. So I think we're going to start with maybe something easy. Set a configurable note on the form based on the state of the machine. We had to repeat, we had to repeat to several customers to keep the names short and in caps, but still. So I think we can just probably add maybe an annotation to the text field that we're going to engrave or to that particular variable set. So let's try to do that. So I'm going to come over to MakeFarm home. Did I lose I did. I lost my page, my home page. Whoops. Let's go back to that. And if I go to, let's go to maintain items. Now, the other thing I'll note, like when we go to that portal, and I showed you the MakeFarm portal, this is just your standard record producer. It's nothing special. We're just using a standard record producer here. So you'll see that reflected if we look at multi USB charger keyring. There's the description, the short description, the model, the table name that we're dumping it into. So pretty standard, what you're used to seeing here. And then also our variable sets. So we've got our engravable multi-line variable set. And here, we're enabling multi-line. So this is one of the things we have in our backlog. So we see different lines here, line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4 for phone. This was actually programmed to specifically luggage tag. Then we got more things that were multi-line enabled. So this was my very shortcut way, just renaming the question instead of having to change the script. I probably should update that script at some point and do the real thing, but that's all right. Let's change our scope to MakeFarm. And let's see, and that's our text preview, but let's add a annotation. I don't know, description, does description show up on a variable set? I don't think so, right? Oh, is there any previous video on MakeFarm in the channel? So glad that you asked, Ravi. We do have videos that we've run at different events. So you might have seen them playing in the background when we go to, when you see them at Knowledge. It'll be my lovely face talking all about the MakeFarm. But we do have videos. I do plan on putting those on the dev program channel so that we can use them via YouTube, because right now we just stream them via SharePoint. It's not always the best. So keep a lookout for those. We will do that. And I also want to do a Hack in the Hack Zone video for the MakeFarm, because there's a lot of cool stuff in here. But thanks for asking. You reminded me that I need to do that. All right, so we have our description. I don't think that shows on an item, so we're just going to add it as another field. Hey, Chuck. Welcome. What's it look like if I just do a label? I don't really have a question. The name is going to be, we'll just call it instructions. See what happens if we just put it here. What was the, did they ask for anything specific on the form based on the state of the machine? I'm not sure based on the state of the machine means, but I understand what they mean because we did have a lot of people putting in long names. So we'll say something kind of informal, and I'll follow up with these guys. Keep the text short to ensure it fits on the item you're requesting. Let's see how that shows up. Let's go and refresh. Not a big fan. I don't really like the way that looks. What can we do different? Can we change that to something different to make it look a little better? Rich text label. I don't think I want to do that. Maybe we just add it to rich text label. All right, let's try that. Let's see what we get when we do rich text label. Let's just try it just like that and see what happens and see what it looks like. Could we? That didn't seem like it took effect, did it? Hello, Jay. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be, evening you might be. What if we squeeze it down a bit? And we refresh it. Is it just going to take on? Oh, that worked. A little too small. I don't think it's prominent enough, though, is my problem. I'm not sure what the best option would be. Disable automatic slot fill. Nope. For this one. Don't know. Let's see. We'll put it at the top just to make sure it stays there. We have name, line 1, line 2, line 3. Do you want to put it on top of the email address just to grab attention? We could do that. That means I'd have to break it out of the variable set because it is in a different variable set than the email address is in. Good question. We could try that. We could try that. So let's do active here. Annotation on the fields after making it multi-line. Annotations, though, don't show up on catalog items. Or could I just add a decoration to said field? Well, let's see. Let's go back. We got a vote for Captain Mannerings. Let's look at that. Let's see. Don't worry about that being in global. Our make now our variable set, just to throw that out there too, there are some hidden fields in here for this one. So we're only showing email address, but we're copying the event ID. This is something I had to do because we were using UI Builder, and there was some uniqueness to it. So these are all hidden, but get populated whenever you open the item up. In case you're wondering, you're looking at that. Okay. Well, this seems pretty trivial, and I'm spending way too much time on something very trivial. There it is. That's not there. So we're going to, oh, annotation. Look at that. Gosh, I feel like a noob for not remembering that that was there. Cool, cool. All right. We'll go to multi-line again. Oh, you're doing an app. I thought this was about Minecraft clone. My kids would love a Minecraft clone. That would be pretty cool. They would think mom was real cool if I was building something like that in ServiceNow. My youngest kid actually, we were sitting at a pizza joint having pizza one day, and he unprompted looked at me and said, "Mom, when I grow up," he's 7, by the way, "Mom, when I grow up, I want to work at ServiceNow and build liquor bots." I was very proud, but I immediately sent that to Jason McKee, who built the liquor bot. If you haven't seen the liquor bot, there is Hack in the Hack Zone videos on the liquor bot on the dev program channel, and told him he is such a bad example, or setting a bad example for my children. They want to build liquor bots, but I was secretly kind of proud. It was kind of fun. It didn't show up there. Let's see. Did I do something wrong? Show help. Always expanded. It's on line 1. Hey, Kevin. Good morning. Maybe we need to put it here. Maybe that's my problemo. Chuck. I'm surprised you haven't built one by now, Chuck, honestly. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, it's not honoring that help or that annotation for some reason here. So I'm going to have to go figure that out, but I'm not going to sit here and do this on the live stream, but at least we do have it here. We have show help. I've got it both in help tag and help text. So perhaps in the UI builder catalog item or record producer widget, it does not support annotations, perhaps. Maybe that's our problem. Okay, well, we have it there. It's something I need to go troubleshoot. So we'll move that to doing. What do we have? We had a configurable note. That's what we're doing. And then we'll move on so we can do some more fun stuff. Okay, so this one is going to be the fun one because, again, not a service portal developer, but I use a lot of ChatGPT to do the development work in Service Portal. So we're going to have it help us add a button to resubmit the job. So what it's talking about here, to show you some context of what it's talking about. So on our operational dashboard, we see we have our MakeFarm mid. I fudged some of the data here, so it looks like it's successful in dev, even though it's not. Oh boy, yeah. Building hundreds of catalog items, super fun. I actually, when we implemented, I was a customer before I came to ServiceNow, and we implemented ServiceNow at my previous company. I actually turned on Item Designer for a ton of people to take some of the work off our devs, and it worked really well for us. I mean, it was kind of limiting, so it was really good for things that were really simple catalog items that followed the request item catalog task sort of structure. Works really well, and my devs were super appreciative of that. And it kind of kept people in their sandboxes too, so they couldn't go and munge around with everybody else's stuff. So that was pretty cool. Okay, so anyhow, so we see that on our CNC machines, we have this one item here that is the job in progress. It's got this little caution sign here. And that means there's been an error an error on that particular item. Couldn't process it. In this case, it's because our mid server is not working. It's not up. So it's broken. So right now, to resubmit a job, you have to go and view the record, and you can look at it. There's all of our machine JSON that we're actually sending over to our CNC machines. So this JSON gets turned into, specifically the text gets turned into an SVG. That SVG turns into G code, which is the instructions that we send to the CNC. And all of these different parameters here are all on the model record that we have for the particular item. So each thing that you see show up on the catalog has a particular model record associated with it that contains all the different sizes of the thing. So we know how to scale the SVG, so on and so forth. So all this is a lot of like machine language that the CNC understands, but we show it here just so that we as the operators can see it and make sure that everything's coming through okay. Okay, so I see it's an error, but if I wanted to resubmit it, there's a couple clicks to go resubmit. So what they're asking is that we move this resubmit order button over to the service catalog. So that means I'm going to get to go into a portal widget, which is super duper fun. And you guys are going to laugh at me, but that's okay. So I can come to my portal widgets. I could also do this in Studio, but MakeFarm operational dashboard. Everything on that dashboard is a single widget just because it worked better that way for me. So everything is going to be a widget. You see, I have a bunch of constants here, all my table names that I'm working out of. And again, this was all built using, for the most part, ChatGPT, or at least generative AI. I did move over to Claude at some point just because I wanted to try it out to see how well it would work compared to ChatGPT. So I'm still kind of up in the air on which one I like better. Oh, good point, Chuck. Perhaps I'll do that. Use JSON view equals true. I like that idea. Thanks for that. So here's all of my server script. There's my client controller, all of my widget paraphernalia. So I'm going to open it up in widget editor. I'm going to try to do this myself instead of relying on ChatGPT. I will probably screw it up, but that's okay. So I know I want to put it next to our validate button, a validate and assign next button. So there's our view job button. Let's just copy that and say, let's do resubmit. And we want to do also, I can't decide if I should just show it on air. I think there might be opportunities where we would want to resubmit it if it was in like pending validation status. So maybe we only show it for pending validation status. So if we do that, and we'll say, although I don't know if I have a machine. Oops, sorry about that. I don't think it'll be here, right? Oh, nope, don't do that. Don't do that. Let's see for our machine dot, what's our thing that we're using? Machine in data.cncs. That's what we want. Data.cncs. So there we go. There's all the information we're getting. A lot of information for our CNCs that we're trying to reflect here too. So we have machine dot job error event. So we're getting event, we're getting job error. That's good. And status, that's operational status for the machine. So we don't necessarily want to look at the machine. We'll leave it here for now and just work on submitting that job. So let's see what that looks like. We'll add the logic in later if we need to. So refresh. Right, I did hit refresh, do it. There we go. So now we have our resubmit job button. We'll probably style that a little different too. Let's figure out what we want that resubmit job button to do. We don't want it to open the job record. Open job. But we do want it to scope dot, we want it to resubmit. Make job. And I don't think I have anything in my job manager to do that yet. No. So that's where we need to go into our studio. So again, having done this in a lot in ChatGPT, it did break out a lot of the different services. I think Claude did a lot of this. It got a little out of hand, admittedly, at some point where it was just like, oh, we'll create a config service, we'll create a job service, we'll create mobile utils, which I think I created. We created a duplicate one. One of these is active, one of these is not. I can probably whack that one actually because we're not using it anymore. So there's our Ajax utils that we're using. We've got a mid-server control service, lots of different services that we have that we've created. So we're going to our job service is where we're going to look at. So these are all things that we're using to assign the next job. So whenever we click that button, validate and assign next, it's assigning the next job here. We've got assign a specific job. So if we want to assign directly a job to the machine, we can do that. List compatible jobs. So I don't think I can show it now because I've got that one. Yeah, I can. So when I click this button, it's going to show all the compatible jobs. It's going to look at the CNC to figure out what capabilities it has and what capabilities are on the requests itself that it can fulfill. So it'll show those here, so on and so forth. So that's my list. If I want to, there's our private methods. So let's create a resubmit job function here. Function, oops. And we don't really need to send it anything except for the request ID, I think, is all we really need. Perfect. That's all we really needed to do. Actually, I kind of want to try out ChatGPT and see what it will do. Let's go back to see what ChatGPT will give us. Let me find my particular MakeFarm app. Oh, I think I did it. Let me pull this over here so you guys can see. Let's hide that. Nope, I don't want to do that. Let's see. So I've given it already my project files. I think somebody was asking to do this sort of thing, like using generative AI to create portal widgets. So now you're going to get it. So I've already like given it my widget files. So all of my, or my different widgets that I'm using in the app. So let's see if I can ask it to add a resubmit job function on that particular portal widget. So on the MakeFarm ops dashboard widget. Oh boy. I want to add a button in the actions column in the CNC machine section to resubmit the job currently assigned to that machine. We'll see what happens. Okay. Add a button to the template. We did that. Cool, cool. Add resubmit job to the controller. Okay, we started to do that. Man. There's our Ajax. Oh, you got it. Zoom in a little bit. I forget. Better? That should be better, right? Yeah, looks a little better, I think. Maybe I'll do a little more. Let's see. There we go. That's a little better. Oh, Earl, stop being Goldilocks. All right, so we have our resubmit JavaScript include. That's the part that we're missing that I was starting to work on there. That was in our Ajax utils, but wide record. I don't think that's going to work because that's not Ajaxy. That's all right. So let's see. Let's see how this works by just copying this guy. Oh, good. Failed to copy to clipboard. That's nice. Okay, I'll just do it manually then. No problem. Where are my widget? Is my widget? Let's take it out of this block just to keep that clean up there. And then I will add this. Oh no, you didn't copy that either. Why is Control C not working? What's up, guys? There we go. That's better. Would it hurt them to put a format button here in the client scripts? That would be really cool if we could do that. That would be nice. So we have our machine that we're going to send it to. Okay. Did we do that? Open job record. Where's my resubmit? This one. Resubmit job for our button. Right. Ajax util. Cool. Resubmit job. Fair enough. So there's that. We did our button already. We're good there. And I don't think that's going to work in Ajax, right? Oh, no, it will. So we've got to get parameter, but I don't know if we want to pull that out and put that into our just regular old script include, but we'll see. We do have, actually, we already have that. So I'm all over the place today. Sorry, guys. You can auto format white space at least. Nice. Okay. Let's go. Yeah. Format. Love that. It's got the right table, so that's good. It's at least remembering that. Status to 1. I don't think that's the status we want to set it to. Thanks, Captain. Appreciate that affirmation. All over the place. It's Monday. I don't know who decided to do this stream on Mondays, whose crazy idea that was for me to do this on Mondays, but man, they were out of their mind. Oh, oops, comma. Need a comma. Okay. So there's our resubmit job function. Let's validate that that's actually the state that we want to use. So if I look at my swag request table, and I could look there, but I prefer to just do it this way. Open it up. Can I double click? Come on, not working in Studio. Okay, great. We'll open up here. Don't want -6. We want, I think we want it to be 0. I don't think we want it to be requested. I think we just want to put it back in queued, because that's where the flow picks up off of. So we said 0 that we wanted to set it to. 0. Let's see how ChatGPT does with this. And then we'll go back, because I think I actually have a function already that's a resubmit job. We'll have to look at the UI action, because I want to be able to reuse those as much as I can, right? Instead of having to duplicate things. Okay, so we have our resubmit job in our Ajax function. Let's see what happens if we use that button on our operational dashboard. We'll refresh it. Resubmit job. No, that doesn't work, because I am still opening the button or opening the form whenever I click on that, I bet. Did I save that? Let's use ChatGPT's version of that button. Copy. It gives me a nice emoji too, so that's nice. And let's put the button in here. Ugh. Oh, that makes me crazy. Manually format it there. There you go, guys. Thanks. All right, back to our operational dashboard. And we refresh it. Oh, there's my emoji. That's so nice. Hey, look at that. Did it do it? It's still going to kick it back to error. That's okay. But what's that timestamp say? No, not the right timestamp. It did not do it. Even though, that should still show as an error, because 1552. Oh, well, that's weird. Okay. We put it into a queued state. Definitely progress. That's good. But it should have also restarted the flow in the background when it switched to queued. What is my UI action doing here? Am I manually kickstarting that flow and not just doing it on queued? That would be embarrassing. I bet I am. No, resubmit order. See, there's my MakeFarm utils. Good. I knew I did this. Machine busy. Yeah, that error message was from earlier, Chuck. So that tells me that it did not resubmit the flow for one reason or another, or it didn't kick off that flow again. That was when I was testing it earlier and it hit the error status because I wanted to have one in error status so we could see it for the stream. So no, that's not doing anything crazy either, but that button is working. Oh, do we set workflow to false? That'll do it. I'll bet you. So if we go back, so many windows open right now. So if we go to Studio, that will do it. Dun, da, da. Oh man, okay. I'm gonna follow request gr here. Very contentious topic of how we name our variables, but I'm gonna do it. Save it. Okay. So now we can go back to operational dashboard. This full screen thing is really driving me bananas. Okay. Now we will try to resubmit our job. Although now it's not going to kick over to that state because it's already in that state. Let's put it back in error state. Where's my error state? There you are. And let's go back. Why it took me to a new record, I don't know. Did it go back to queued? I set it to error, didn't I? Or did it not like that? Okay. Good grief. There we go. Now it's error. So it updated on its own. Didn't have to refresh it. Updated on its own to an error state. Great. And let's resubmit our job. Resubmitted. So that tells me the state changed. View our record. Open up another window viewing this record. It shows queued. And it should kick off the workflow. Huh. No workflow, huh? Let's check it out. Monday, Monday. I clearly need more coffee. Speaking of, cheers. Okay. So our flow is named swag request flow, but actually let's look at any operations. Let's see if maybe it's running but not doing what it's supposed to. Good Lord. That's a lot of old workflows sitting in there. Oh, look, there's Chuck. 11:38. So that means it should have run. Error caught. That's good. That's what we want. It says it updated the record. Was I just not patient enough? Was that the deal? Oh, not patient enough. So it did run. Good. So that worked. Excellent. So now we have a button. I feel like I should format that button a little differently. I feel like we should format the button a little differently so it differentiates itself from the others. But I don't know what color to make it because I am a terrible decision maker. I wonder if ChatGPT will help me with that. I'd like to format that button differently. How do you suggest what do you suggest? I change so that it is not mistakenly clicked. Let's see how it does with that. It's usually pretty decent, although I found that I end up with like some ridiculous amount of styling that I need to go back and then put into the main style sheet. Oh, we're going to make it yellow. Okay. And we'll change the hover. You can also make it smaller or separated. I don't really want to do that. Add a confirmation. That's probably smart, honestly. That's probably a smart idea to say, do you really want to do that? But that'll probably just slow people down and make people angry. Let's add that style to our widget. This is all the styles that I really need to consolidate and push back down to the overall portal styles. But so, don't judge me on my styling, please. And then let's see, we added some classes to our button. Where did you go? There we go. Bam. Nope. Don't want to do that. Don't want to do that either. We don't want 2 classes in there. There we go. Perfect. Let's see how that looks on our operational dashboard. First, let me close some of these freaking windows. There we go. What do you guys think? Confirmation message or no confirmation message? Wow, that is not subtle. Maybe we should make that a little more subtle. A bit more subtle, please. Tone it down. Thank you. Oh, it's getting fancy now with all these classes on all this CSS. Okay, let's try that. Let's see what that CSS looks like. Save. Well, now it's tiny, but that's okay. That's a little better. I don't mind that so much. But now we need to make it less small. And I think I did the opposite, or not really the opposite I wanted to do. It did what I wanted it to do, but it got a little crazy. I don't necessarily want to mess with the font size. I want it to be the same as the others. But yeah, I think that this is not. Yeah, I'm going to take all that out, Chuck. I think that'll work. That's better. That's a little better, I think. What do you guys think on the confirmation message? Should I make a confirmation message before we resubmit it? Think that's a better user experience? I can't decide. It's so funny that it took me 8 years of being, at ServiceNow, but 10 years in the ecosystem before I really actually started building Service Portal. And I credit a lot of that to generative AI, honestly. I know enough JavaScript and I know enough to write JavaScript, but man, I never was able to put it all together with Service Portal at all. That makes sense. I will do that. So resubmit job is there. We did that. That's great. Fantastic. It works. So let's go to our backlog and let us retrying job should be a single click. We did that. Hello to Brazil. I'm going to butcher your name. I'm so sorry. I'm not even going to try, but hello. Thank you for joining from Brazil. Let's see. What's something easy we could do? We only got 15 more minutes left. I've spent a lot of time on that portal and a lot of time on that freaking annotation for the catalog. We're going to have to figure that out and see what's up. SP util add trivial message. Okay, I'll check that out. Chuck, thank you. Thanks for that. Let's see. We have things that we want to do, plan maintenance for our machines, for our CNCs, because over time their drill bits get a little, we did that. Well, we're going to hold on to that, but we did do that. Over time, the drill bits and things get kind of worn out. The lasers get worn out. So we want to do some maintenance tasks for those. We're just going to use plan maintenance for those. Jason is doing that. Raspberry Pis. we'll see how that goes because we're not really using Raspberry Pis anymore, except for India. They figured out how to do it, and that seems to work okay. Well, that's going to take a lot longer. That'll be a whole series in and of itself. Okay. So let's add the attribute for multi-line. So as I mentioned before, different models support multi-line text. So I thought about adding just an attribute to support multi-line on the model so we can make that a bit more dynamic. So let's do that. All right, so to do that, we are going to go to our engravable models. And this is just an extension of the product model table, I think. So when you saw that JSON, all of that JSON was derived from these fields for begin sequence, end sequence, tool on. Don't ask me what all of these do. That's definitely a question for Jason. I don't typically read G code. Thanks for coming, Chuck. Thank you. These are all of the different G code things that run in are for the CNC. So G code, again, is just kind of a recipe for the CNC machines and instructions for them to follow. But this is where all that stuff from the JSON comes in. And so what we want to do is add an attribute to determine whether this particular model supports multi-line, so that then we can become a little bit more dynamic in our particular record producer when we're creating the record producer for the item itself. So I don't really want to do that here. I'm going to do that in Studio. And yes, I'm using old school Studio because I'm a bit of a curmudgeon, much like Travis that he mentioned on his particular his stream last week, that I just am stuck in Studio. So one day I will definitely make the switch, but for now I'm going to stick with Studio. Maybe next time I'll try to use ServiceNow Studio. I promise. Okay, so let's see. We have our tables, engravable model. That's the one that we want. And we'll name this supports multi-line. We're going to make this a true false. And we shall save. And we'll go pull one of these up. And I'm going to put that, let's see, configure form layout. Not now. I hope we've helped you do that undefined. And I hope that's your name. Maybe you need a new desk. A change of scenery is always nice. Okay, so we have support multi-line. I'm actually going to take picture out because I feel like that's just taking up way too much space on that top. I'll probably move that to a different section. So actually, let's see if we save that. That looks a little better. Maybe I'll move it over to the right column. So let's move that over to average processing time. That looks good. And then if I go to general, yeah, let's put the photo here. I think it's a photo. Or is it image? Oh, good grief. Okay, never mind. We'll just do that. Let's see what happens. Good. So support multi-line. For this one, we're going to check yes. And let's see what happens when we create. I think we have a business rule and an associated script include. So what happens when you create one of these models, it does trigger the creation of this catalog item that goes along with that model. So we basically just copy a lot of the information over to the catalog item itself so that we can display that on the portal, on the UI Builder portal that we have. So you'll see a lot of that information copied over. And I think that lives right now. There is G code in our Bamboo 3D printer. So I guess most of that is just instructions. Yes, that's correct. So G code is shared between 3D printers. I also have a Bamboo lab, actually, Captain. I got my kid one because he was so obsessed with mine that mine was continually being used to print toys instead of anything that I wanted to print. So now he has his own Bamboo Lab. But yes, they do share G code. That is in common between the two of them, CNCs and 3D printers. So that's why you'll see at the MakeFarm, a few years ago, we did actually use 3D printers in the MakeFarm. But right now we're mostly using CNCs, but hopefully the 3D printers are going to make a comeback soon enough. Okay, so there's our 3D model. Let's see, we're going to open up our catalog item. Actually, we're going to look at business rules because I think it's a business rule that actually creates it. No, filter that out because it's not on that table. Maybe it is not, but I think it's definitely in here. So let's try to find record producer. Oh, goodness. Nope. Man, I'm so bad at finding this stuff. Aha, here we go. That's the current event, but that's not what we want either. Where am I creating that record producer? Is it SE cat item producer? Let's just look for producer and search. MakeFarm utils, MakeFarm Ajax. It's definitely not there. Business rule. Track machine time. Huh. Where do I? There it is. Create catalog item. Wow, that's bad practice. I put all of that on the model table and I also put everything in the script. Wow, that's definitely a backlog item. Let's fix that. Refactor that. Refactor the catalog item creation for engravable models. Yowza. I don't want to claim that one, but that was totally me. I did that. So we'll put that on our backlog to port that over to being a function in our script include. But for now, we are using this to create our table. We're using the catalog item. I think the catalog item API. Yep, the cat item API with our short description, all of our information in here. Couldn't set the table name, which is interesting. You're not able to do that using that particular API. So I might switch it from the API to just creating the record directly in the table, but we'll see. And there's where we're setting our catalog items. So this is where we need to be a bit more variable. So here is where we are setting our, we're adding one that is an event variable set, also a hard-coded sysid, not ideal, and also a one for the engravable variable set. So we need to be variable based on whether it supports multi-line. So we'll do this really quickly, quick and dirty. Current dot, let's see, is that what we have here? Do I have access to that? Yes. Catalog item sysid. But where am I running this on? Oh, product model. And I don't want to do that. I want to change that to the engravable model. Yeah. And that would give me access to that one. Yeah, take out what I'm doing here. Now save it. We only have like 6 minutes left. I'm not sure I'm going to get through this in 6 minutes, but I'm going to put this on our back burner for our backlog to work on next time to make this more dynamic. And we will switch this over to being a function in our script include and actually follow best practice and maybe even take out these sysids, which I think is probably a good idea. So definitely some things to clean up and refactor here for our UI action that we've got in for creating a catalog item for our engravable models. So with that, I'm going to wrap up and bid you all adieu for today. I hope you have a lovely day, and also remind you that I think on Wednesdays, my colleagues Earl and Travis take turns doing live coding happy hour. Earl's doing live coding 11sies. Travis is doing live coding afternoon tea. So be sure to check those out on a bi-weekly basis. I think 11sies is this Wednesday, and I think afternoon tea is next Wednesday. I'm pretty sure they kind of alternate. So definitely check those out and keep an eye on our YouTube channel for any new videos that we post. We've got a whole creator toolbox series coming up to cover all the new stuff in Yokohama. So be sure to stay tuned to that. And with that, I'll see y'all next time. Bye.